Hi, my name is Madison Yin. This is my vlog, Branding Through Photography, and today we're on episode 6 and we're talking about posing candid. So you might be wondering, what exactly is posing candid? And that's a really great question. For me, posing candid is when you're not looking at the camera. All right. So a couple of weeks ago, we kind of talked about how you need to change your mindset to get in front of the camera, because obviously we know it's scary to show up and just to be there and to kind of be confronted with all of these like insecurities that you have. So I feel like posing candid is a little bit of like a baby step into it. Like obviously you're still getting in front of the camera, you're still taking pictures and all of those things, but it's not as intense. And I think the reason why that's the case is because you're not actually looking into the camera. And sometimes when you're like looking straight down a lens, it can get really intimidating and you start feeling like, you know, like the camera can see inside your soul, and especially if there's a person behind the camera, it just makes it a little bit more uncomfortable. So what I recommend is starting out and posing in candid, like just doing some candid poses, and that really kind of helps you like ease your way into it. So obviously we're not going to stay here for long. We want to get into the other types of photos to take, like headshots and all of those things, but it's a really great place to start. So when you're doing your candid posing, you can make this however you want. Like you can dress up, it can be very casual, it can kind of be a behind the scenes. I mean, make it yours, whatever you want to do with it. The gist is though, you're not going to be looking at the camera. Okay, so I'll show you a few different candid shots just so you can kind of get a feel for what those look like. But in general, I'll just kind of go over some posing for you, and yeah, and then we can add from there. Okay, so I have a few like props with me. I have my wine and some papers, computer, my phone. What the idea is, okay, obviously you can be sitting in front of the camera and not doing anything at all. You can kind of just be like looking out the window, something like that. You know, just play with it. But it also, you can totally like be working on something and then just, you know, like be looking down. So you have a few different options there. What I would recommend, okay, so if you're starting out and you're just kind of like looking off to the left or the right, or even like in the 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock range, so like camera obviously straight in front of you, you can kind of like look this way. Really play with it and don't be scared to take a ton of photos. This is when having one of those clicker thingies is like really helpful, because you could just like click away. And then, you know, it's not like we're shooting on film here. Like it's not like it's costing you a ton of money to take a bunch of pictures. So just take as many as you feel the need to and see what pose looks best on you. Okay, so say we're like looking over here, I kind of like go up like this, maybe I would play with my hair. My dad was a photographer, he used to shoot a lot of fashion, and he was very harsh on models. He was like, if they touch their hair, you know, more than a few shots, then that just shows their model skill. Okay, and I agree with that when it comes to models. But you know what? We're not models, okay? So it's okay to touch your hair, you know, kind of like do a little ear tuck here, or hair tuck, I don't know, whatever you call it. But you don't want to do the same hair pose each time. I mean, you know, mix it up. So if you feel like you need something in your hands, that's when you incorporate a prop, okay? So definitely like you can like look this way, you can kind of play with the hair. I kind of just like to chill this way, and then I do like a little shoulder shrug, which we talked about all this in the posing guide. I'll link to it again, feel free to download. But yeah, like incorporate like a little shoulder shrug here. You can kind of like put one up a little bit and then like connect with it. I like to go down a little bit, but then up is nice too. So you can kind of play with it. And then you can just like look off like that way. And this whole time while I'm moving, I would be taking pictures. Like if I had a little clicker, I would be taking pictures like this and then up, and then kind of do like this little thing here. So, and I know it's awkward. I'm just like posing, but then no pictures are happening. But I think it's helpful for you to know what to expect. Yeah, so I kind of like look this way. If I wanted to incorporate a prop of some sort, then I would, try to bring it into play here. Let's see, I wish I had like a little notebook, but it would kind of be like this, and then you just kind of smile while you're like writing your notes. I'm trying to make sure it's like in frame here. But so you kind of smile, do your little shoulder shrugs, and then you can like kind of do this thing here, do like an arm, hand thing. So, and then that gives you like something to hold with your hand, something to do if you wanted. So you could go like this. Okay, and then if you were to do wine, you could do this. If you had a stem, it could just be hanging underneath, and you can kind of like go off to the side here. And always like when you're doing your candid shots, unless you're the kind of brand where you're really serious or moody or something like that, then fine, you can have like, I mean, everyone calls it the RBF face. Fine, you can have an RBF face if you want, but usually you want it to be like a little bit more like inviting. And yeah, so definitely just try to like keep it smiling, keep it happy. You're happy to be here, you're happy to be doing the things, even if taking photos is not happy for you, like it makes you feel uncomfortable. So just kind of like smile, and then I always like touching like the neck, the hair, this part here, so that I think that's like a nice little pose for me. But yeah, so I would kind of do that way. I wouldn't necessarily like actually drink while you're taking photos. Obviously, take photos of it anyways, and then if you don't like it, you can take it out later. But I mean, it's usually just not like the best viewpoint, but you can always like kind of pull up like you're about to, or something along those lines. Like it could be in the process of, but then the actual action of drinking is not normally that attractive. So, I mean, but definitely give it a try, see what you think. Yeah, and then if you wanted to do something on your phone, you can kind of just be like this, like la la la, do something along those lines. Those are really great for any sort of behind the scenes or like social media posts where you're talking about, here's what I do on Instagram, or here's how I connect with my clients, or whatever. And so, and then the same with the notes. You could be like, I'm taking notes for this week on your computer. You could be talking about your online business. Like, for wine, you could be talking about it's been a rough day, and now, you need a glass of wine, you need some time to unwind, or maybe this is like your favorite part about being an entrepreneur. There's tons of ways that you could go with it. The idea of the candid, starting out super simple, is looking left and looking right, or looking 10 and 2, and then just kind of playing with it from there. Make sure you add in the shoulder shrugs, and you can touch the hair if you want. I always like, one of my mentors, she calls it the nipple line. So like turn your head to the nipple line, which is usually like 2 o'clock. So it's like you normally hear, and then you kind of like look down, straight up, something like that. But you kind of incorporate the shoulders a little bit. So it's fun. I always talk about that. So yeah, that's a really great way to incorporate some really easy candids for you. And then another style of candid, but it's a little bit more posed, is when you are shooting and like say your face is straight on to the camera, but then maybe you're like looking up like this, or to the left or right, and then, or if you're doing like a little eyebrow raise, like something along those lines. And those make for really great pictures when you're trying to make it promotional, or you're trying to point to something, and that comes in real handy when you are adding graphics at the end, because you can like say you're like looking up like this, and then right above you could have clear space, and then right above you could have whatever you're trying to say in your graphics, whether that's like a promo post or whatever. So I consider those to be candid, even though they're pretty posed. But yeah, they're really great ways to just add a little something extra to your repertoire here. So just give it a try. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you do, then now you have it. All right. So kind of like this, or something along those lines. You can make it kind of goofy, but they get fun, and it adds like a little bit of personality, a little bit of lightheartedness to the business when you kind of start doing some quirky things like that. They also make for really great Facebook ads because they're a little bit more like eye stopping when you're scrolling, because you're like, what? You know, the candid shots when you're just kind of like laughing in the background, they definitely make nice shots, but they're not gonna like stop you in your tracks. So just keep that in mind. I think that's about all I have for posing today, posing candid. And hopefully this helped you guys figure out how to baby step your way into getting in front of the camera. I think that posing candidly really helps. It's a really great way to get started and dip your toes in the water to the world of, you know, branding photography. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. If you like the video, drop a comment below, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next week. So same time, same place. Thanks.